Welcome to Crans-Montana.
Thank you.
And thank you also for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this forum.
It's a pleasure.
As Salar mentioned about École Hôtelière de Lausanne, or EHL in 3 letters, last year it celebrated 125 years.
Yep.
There was a lot of festivities, I believe, but EHL was always seen as a pioneer in hospitality management, is ranked as the #1 in the world for hospitality management education. So tell us a little bit more about EHL today.
Okay, EHL has now become a group. It consists of 2 campuses at the moment in Switzerland, one in Lausanne, which was the original campus, and one in Passug. The school in Passug actually teaches the more practical arts part of hospitality, whereas Lausanne's doing the hotel management. We are shortly opening a school in Singapore, we hope next year. And we are moving forward on all aspects of education and hospitality industry. Hospitality today is being disrupted like no other industry. Like all the other industries, and we have the same challenges not only from the hospitality side, but also how we educate the students of tomorrow to work in that industry with all these technical changes coming along.
Thank you. Well, EHL has always been viewed as educating leaders for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And EHL stands for that leadership as well. You're taking steps ahead of maybe your competition into that field. What about the topic of today, this new age of learning? Is that game influenced?
Well, we're faced with a whole lot of students who, if I understand correctly, have a very limited span of concentration. Somebody said the other day that goldfish have an attention span of 7 seconds. Students today have an attention span of 4. So we have a challenge to keep them interested, and I think the way of doing that in the future will be to create experiences. And how we can do that is by using technology. So we're talking about anything or in terms of XR, VR, AR, mixed reality, which will bring them into another experience. And it just won't be a game, it will be a serious game to educate them at the same time. So they take something away from this experience, not just this experience itself, but something in the learning part. So we're looking at all of those sorts of things today. And the reason why we're going forward a lot faster today is because the CEO of EHL, Mr. Rocha, decided to create a new department, which is digital. And I moved from being CIO to CDO 1st of May, and my role is to concentrate on everything digital in education and the hospitality industry.
Now, your booth, which is downstairs, and people are invited to experience your first course. It says it's about gamification of education, and that is really to sustain that attention from the students. What are the first feedback? Because this is the very first course from EHL. So what are the first feedback, whether it is from a staff perspective, I mean a teaching staff perspective, or a student body?
Okay. Let's take it back one step, because it took me a year to convince the faculty to listen to me, and the fact that we needed to change the way we were teaching in terms of technology, how we could bring technology into the classroom to help the students. So it took a long time. Faculty are well known for want to stay with their blackboard and their pen and not using anything else, and their PowerPoints that they created 20 years ago. And to bring them into a world which they didn't understand, they couldn't see, the benefit of that took a lot of persuasion. They thought I was going to film somebody cutting carrots, and that was it. Wasn't interested. We got a certain number of faculty really interested, and they came up with an idea after a lot of discussion, and that was housekeeping. And the housekeeping game that we've put into place allows the students not only to be in a virtual space, but it also creates teamwork. The faculty were astonished with how the students were interested in getting on this course. Housekeeping, everybody hates. There's not much people don't like cleaning other people's rooms and toilets and things like that. And we tried to make it a bit more sexy with technology. And now everybody wants to do the housekeeping course because everybody wants to do the VR. And the only thing is, everybody wants to wear the goggles. And we made it a game where we have teams. So the team is based on one person who puts the Oculus on their head. The rest is projected onto a screen. And then each team member has a role to play because there is the perfect room to create. So everybody has a lot of information. And we've created a team which has to learn to communicate in a different way, because when you've got the headset on, over there, it doesn't mean anything to you because you can't see people pointing. So they have to work really well together to make sure that they can control everything that's been done in the game, and they win the points. So they're timed and they earn points, which adds to their grade. So it's a serious game where they are actually graded on it. So students love it. The faculty who were involved in it just want more. And we actually filmed it at the Beau Rivage in Lausanne. And the Beau Rivage in Lausanne want to use it to train their staff. So all around it's been an amazing success. And now the only trouble is, how do we produce more and faster?
Right, yeah. But is that also influenced by large chains or large groups from the hospitality industry?
There are a lot of the large groups who are looking at using VR. There's a lot of uncertainty as to how they will use it. I'm currently talking with a large hotel chain in New York who are really interested in what we've done and to try and take that further and maybe use not just VR but more mixed reality. But they're at the very beginning. The technology push from hospitality has a lot been on the AI side with personalization of stays and stuff like that. Training of staff is not their first issue today, but they are beginning to realize that with the problems with retention of staff in the hospitality industry, they have to do something to help people. And plus, education's changing. I mean, there's quite a few people in this world, companies in this world today who are starting to hire people on competencies, not on the degree that they've got. And so we need to be able to give those competencies to students fast. And we will end up in a world where we'll all have to do learning for the entire part of our career. And we need to find ways of training people fast and ways that they learn. And the younger generation learn through this experience.
So it's about immersive education somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember from my time at École Hôtelière Lausanne, I still had this dactylography or typewriting courses, so that's giving you a little bit of a hint on my age as well. But hospitality is also about soft skills. I mean, you can't move away from welcoming a person at the reception desk or showing him to his room. That will still remain. I mean, these soft skills is about people, and ultimately, I mean, if you're having a course on housekeeping, well, the bed has still to be made, right?
Yep, and the bed still has to be made, so you need to physically be able to make a bed. And I think it will be a case of combining things. Soft skills, you are completely right. It's what makes the industry. But I see a world going forward where we need to produce from EHL hybrid skills, so skills where you have the soft skills, but you also have an understanding of the technology that's coming that's going to disrupt your industry. And I think that's the role of EHL today, is to add to all they've done in the past in terms of soft skills with some more technological-based training to make sure that the students are ready for what's going to hit them when they walk out the door. The world's changing so fast, we need to do something. But you could also use VR in training soft skills. I mean, you can put people in situations, for instance, a reception desk, where depending on what answer they give in the game, is the path that the game will take them into a different branch, where you could end up with somebody who's completely satisfied, or you can end up with somebody who's extremely aggressive. And then you have to put yourself into that situation, because it's very easy to talk about it, but it's a lot more difficult when you're faced with somebody. And role-playing with your fellow students is not the same as seeing somebody you don't know.
Yeah, correct. I mean, and I believe that this skills development is very important from an education perspective to pass on this knowledge. And the education of VR technology or mixed reality technology is also something that you need to teach to the students.
Yep.
Because, well, going back also to my experience when I was a student there, we were the first one to receive the notebooks. Well, they were not really notebooks. They were 7 kilos beasts. And they were very, very small storage capacity, 20 megabyte hard drive. Again, is a prehistoric type of era. But again, I think these VR skills have to be taught. And is that something that you need assistance in regards of teaching to first your faculty members, then to the students, or that is going to be in parallel?
I think it will be in a parallel way, because the students will demand access to this technology, and so we will be working with students on student projects. We actually work currently with students on artificial intelligence projects, where my team involved the students in building intent for machines and training machines. I think we'll start off like that while faculty has the time to come in with new ways of teaching. So I think it's going to be really in parallel. We're trying to introduce more virtual everything in the campus. So.
I was a founding member of the EHL Food and Beverage Chair, which is a research body, about 10 years ago. And that research predicted maybe the premises of food printing technology, about robotics usage in restaurants. And that is coming. It is coming, or it is already, but it is not coming from so much the industry people. It is coming maybe from MIT guys who are creating a complete automized pizza kitchen or fried rice type of solutions. Now, you can't teach wine knowledge, which is something that is also close to my heart.
You can do a lot more than you think. With the immersive VR technology that's coming out, we can have tastes, smells, touch, and we are not very far away from being able to take students to other places in the world to look at grapes, to smell grapes, to understand what happens in a vineyard, to take them to a market in India to look for spices, to take them to Rungis in Paris to get the food how to choose a fish that's a good quality. We can take them to different places in the world while they're at EHL by creating an immersive VR experience, which will give them some of that knowledge. Yes, I mean, a glass of wine and drinking a real glass of wine, you'll never take that away from the importance that has, but we can take them and give them a lot of information in a different way and in an environment which exists somewhere else in the world, which we wouldn't afford to be able to take them to during their studies.
So it's going to be faster learning for the students, but deeper knowledge.
Yes.
So it's going to be more exciting for the students to acquire the knowledge and the skills eventually. So I can basically put my headsets and go to a Japan fish market.
Not even a headset. You can go into a room which will take you to another place in the world.
Right.
That's the idea. So to create a really immersive experience where you have sound, you have all the olfactory pieces coming into and movement. I mean, the idea in the end, if I can create a virtual space which will transport students to somewhere where they can learn something about what they're currently working on. And that can be anything. It can be from the basic hospitality side, but it may also be, I'd like to see if I could get it to work for more boring subjects like finance. And things like that, where we can see things and be able to understand models and move models around in virtual space, which gives a different experience to just dry figures.
So that will also push the industry somehow, because you're going to be creating pioneering courses for the students, and then you're creating expectations from a student perspective, and that is going to push the industry also to adapt to the VR or XR world.
That's correct.
And they will have to learn also from you or cooperate with you in developing maybe solutions.
Exactly.
And that is maybe also something that EHL can see as an opportunity to monetize?
We are actually trying to get hotel companies and hospitality companies to work with us on projects. We don't have an unlimited budget to do all of these things, but I think we need to move forward. And if the industry can help us, we can partner up with them, and they can benefit from our students' knowledge, our faculty's knowledge, my team's knowledge, and use the industry knowledge as well. I think it's really important that, and I believe that my job today is to take all of the things you talked about before, image processing, robotics, looking, for instance, at our canteen. I'm looking at putting in a checkout where you just put your tray underneath an image scanner and it tells you how much it costs, so we can get a faster throughput in the canteen, for instance. All these new technologies will come in some part in the hospitality industry. If I can expose the students to those now before they go out, then they've got something else to sell in their CV. It gives them more potential for their career. And if we can't miss out on it, because this is the future of the industry as well. We will sell holidays in the future in VR. We will give them a taste, like the situation with Versailles. We attract people to come to Versailles because they've seen it in VR. Same things for destinations.
Yeah, it's about experience somehow. It's this immersive experience, and the clients, whether it is for meetings or events, which is maybe easier now to reach with a VR to create them, or this immersive experience for them. It will also go down to the individual travelers and feel and see what is around the hotel and so on.
Yeah, and we will have, when we open in Singapore, the idea is that we benefit from the fact we've got 3 campuses, and we use virtual to allow us to have everybody to participate in things that are going on in each of the campuses without physically being there.
So you're going to create a virtual campus, EHL, joining the 3 or 4 campuses that you're going to have, maintaining that EHL spirit, which is very, very strong in Lausanne.
Yes, that's right. And I think that will be the challenge, to see how students, as you say, have this spirit, because the exchange when you're on campus is something which is not to be missed. And we've got to work out how we can do that with the virtual world. And I think that's going to be quite a challenge.
Yeah, it is also a challenge for all the chains somehow, or all the multinational groups, is to have that spirit or corporate culture somehow, being across wherever you are around the planet, whether you're in Japan, in South America, in North America or Africa. You must have the same feelings, the same sense of belonging, the same culture, corporate culture. Right. Yeah.
But I think the more and more we make that technology available to students, the easier it will become. Because at the moment it's limited to a few cases. If it's available to all at any time, then I think that will be a great step forward into bringing that sort of community feeling, even if you're not on site. Whereas you can connect anytime, any moment with any of the other campuses and people on those campuses and have a real experience with them online. And I think that's what we need to create, and it's one of the things we're working on at the moment.
Right. That's very, very interesting. So what are your expectations from a VR industry? I mean, are you expecting partnerships from the big corporation active into the VR?
I'm looking for niche players who've got unique ideas. We're number 1 in the world. We want to stay there. So I want to be bringing to EHL the latest technology with the best ideas, and I want to be the first doing things. So yes, I want to team up with partners in the industry, but I think my role is to go out and talk to all the people, like the people who are here. I mean, I've seen already yesterday, just doing the booths, I've got 2 or 3 brilliant ideas I can take back. I'm looking for people to work with on those projects. So the big players, maybe, if they come up with something interesting, but I find often that it's the small startup niche players who have got this wonderful idea that we could take further. And even if we partner up with the hospitality industry to do it, we can create a unique experience which nobody has ever had, and that's what I'm looking for.
As a small one can also be very agile.
Yes, exactly.
And very reactive.
Yeah.
So it's not always the case with the big groups.
Yeah.
So the next steps for EHL are really to embark into this digital and VR immersive education,
Yeah.
and creating solutions together with hospitality partners for the future, right?
Yeah, the idea is to have the best to educate our students so that they walk out into this world with the best education in hospitality management, but also in all the technology that goes with it. And if there's anybody in this audience who's got a great idea and wants to work with us, do not hesitate to come and contact me.
Okay, so you have the invitation from Julia to come to her, but also do go down and visit the EHL booth.
Yep.
For an immersive course on how to do a proper room setup.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So thank you very much, Julia, and I hope we can see a lot of development in the VR in the coming months and years to come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.